Dames en heren, goedemiddag.
Hoi hoi, hello and welcome to the Meet Maastricht podcast. I'm Katrina and together with our resident local Lucy, we will be exploring some of the amazing stories that make Maastricht so special. So sit back, relax and join us as we learn about our favourite Dutch city. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 16 of the Meet Maastricht podcast. Today we are talking about a building that I am sure most of you, if not all of you, have walked past or seen. What are we talking about today, Lucy?
Het Stadhuis op de Markt. City.
It sounds fancy.
Sorry, I can't resist that. There has to be some Maastricht in it once in a while. All of it is about Maastricht, but still, you wanted to sound like that a little too once in a while. What I said was City Hall on the Market Square. And yes, I can't imagine you living in Maastricht and not having been there, even if it was only to go and buy some fries in a paper bag at Reeds, which is apparently initiation rite in this city.
Yeah, so we don't need a map for this one, I don't think.
No. Nope.
If it's the big Markt and it's the big sort of square building right smack bam in the middle, if anyone is wondering which is the City Hall building. Yeah. When was it built?
It is in its entirety from the 17th century.
Okay.
And to quote from the final lines of another one of these gorgeous little Maastricht silhouette booklets, this one on the City Hall, in the final lines it says that this building was designed by someone from Holland, an architect from Holland, for magistrates who were both from Liège, Leuk, to the south, and Brabant to the north, and it was built by someone from Aken, and then it was decked out in Flemish tapestries with paintings by Holland masters, with art objects from people from Limburg and from Leuk, with furniture that was of Spanish and French and Leuk and Holland's descent, and with stucco ceilings made by Italians. The City Hall in this way embodies perfectly the many different strains of types of people that were here and still are here. And it is a very European thing in a region that has been influenced by so many different parts of Europe. And when you look at it, it is a gorgeous thing, partly because of the unity it presents. So here we are. This is the motto of the European Union. Unity in diversity. Yeah. And City Hall is just a beautiful. The Maastricht City Hall is just a beautiful illustration of that. The style is 17th century Holland classicistic, so that is pretty alien to these parts. The architect, Pieter Post, and his tutor, Jacob van Kampen, have built extensively in Holland, and quite a few of those places are still there and still in use. One of the most remarkable of that being the former City Hall of Amsterdam, which is now the Royal Palace on the Dam in Amsterdam. Oh, wow. And it's the same style, some classicist in its the clear lines and the balanced volumes, with some Baroque touches in the decorations of the fronts, but a very solid, sober style. Yeah. And of course in Maastricht they can't help being quirky. They will, as per comes with their nature apparently. The Maastricht City Hall has a double stairway in front of the entrance. Of course, this greatly adds to the balance in the building as well, but of course this was also because it was designed for the dual rulers of the city, the Prince Bishops of Leuk, Liège, and the Dukes of Brabant, later on the Estates General of the Low Countries. Yeah. So they had to, it had to be possible for them to both enter and leave the building at the same time. Although by tradition there was a slight, how would you say that, precedence for the bishop.
Okay.
But the balance is recognizable in the entire building, because the one half of it was dedicated to the administration by the bishop, and the other half of it, practically in mirror, was dedicated to the administration by the staff of the Duke or the Estates General.
Okay, so it was built to be a city hall.
It was built to be both a city hall and a court and a prison.
Okay.
You remember? You remember maybe when we talked about the Stadhuis,
Yeah.
which was intended mainly as a court. That during the centuries that the Stadhuis served as a court, there were several other administration buildings close by in the Grote Staat and the Kleine Staat, which is why those streets are named Staat. There were state organizations there.
Yeah.
And they got a bit tired of, well, first of all, those buildings, that collection of buildings falling into disrepair and becoming too cramped and not adequate, but also there being buildings, plural. So for quite some time they'd been pushing and pulling and trying to get the permission and the funds and everything to have everything of the city's administration housed under one roof. So the city hall started out as for this triple purpose. It started out as the administration building, the court, and the prison.
Okay, so how long was it a prison for? Because it's not a prison anymore.
No, and it hasn't been for quite some time.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, the last actual execution was in 1860 on the Market Square. So that's not even all that long ago. But then the prison had been moved already to the you remember maybe the second Lesser Friars convent on what is the Minderbroedersberg. So that was the first thing to move out, the prison, because that was just impractical, and probably also the ideas about what to do with criminals. I mean, for a long time it was customary to put convicted criminals on display outside so people could mock them. Yeah, and those areas are now closed off by the large grills in front of the city hall.
Oh, okay. So that's where they would put prisoners? Yeah,
and then the men would be tied up to in Dutch that's called een schandpaal, and that's the pole of shame. So people would be tied up, and the public could mock them. And the women would be put in a little cage that could be turned around. And of course, the children of the town would relish turning them around until they were cross-eyed with dizziness.
Oh my goodness. So it really was sort of for a little while anyway, like an all-in-one court prison. City administration.
Yes, it combined all these functions together. And it must have been practical for a while, so that's what happened. And then of course things apparently of necessity, I don't really know what that is. It seems to be a law of nature, sort of get more complicated over time, and then more facilities are required, and then that's what happens.
Yeah. So so it's still the City Hall at the moment? Yeah. How has it changed over time?
Well, not a lot.
Okay.
No, not a lot at all, which is really pretty surprising, considering the tales we've been telling of quite a few other places in the city where the decay could go on to such an extent that you would absolutely fear for losing the building altogether. That has never happened with City Hall, but that is of course also because since it was built, it has been in use as City Hall, and it's still is. Yeah. So, and there have been repairs and there have been changes. There used to be a couple of very large chimneys on the four corners of the roof, and they became wobbly, and there was not really the money to repair them, so they took them down. In the course of time, the roof has also been changed because it first had a construction that made for all kinds of leaks all the time, and they got tired of that, and they changed the roof. You can still see the original roof, by the way, when you go and look at the scale model of Maastricht as it was in 1867. There the city hall is built on a scale of 1 to 500, so you can hold it in the palm of your hand, and you can look at what the roof was originally like. And that was, that is pretty much it. The building has been heavily damaged during one of the sieges, and that meant that part of the beautiful Italian stucco was lost. And but it has been continually in use, and it has been taken very good care of. And the last restoration is just finished. And one of the really cute things they did then was replace all the entire electrical system had to be changed out. Also to do something about climate control, to protect the wall hangings, the woolen gobelins, but also to make the working environment for the people there livable. Yeah. Because it would get very hot and it would get very cold, and so the entire system was put in. And when that was being done, all the old style electrical fittings were taken out, and everything was replaced with LED lights. And because they take so very little energy, they are left on in the evening. Yeah. So if you haven't seen this yet, do that. Maybe not in June when the evenings don't get dark at all, but in a dark.
You have to head out quite late at the moment.
And I don't know exactly, but I think the lights are turned off at a certain point. So probably at midnight. But anyway, go and have a look at City Hall at night with all the lights inside, on, and you can see parts of the ceilings and the wall hangings and the chandeliers, and it's it makes the building almost translucent, which is lovely, of course. Yeah.
So what kind of people work there now? Is it?
Well, it is now in use by only the mayor and the board, so to speak, of aldermen. So the burgemeester and the wethouders and their staff. They are housed there. There is, in the lovely central tower, there is a beautiful, beautiful set of bells, and they will ring a carillon, and not a church bell, but a musical instrument consisting of bells.
Yes. It's sort of like a keyboard that you press a button and it rings a bell, sort of.
Yeah.
If you're trying to visualize what it is.
Yeah, the Bayardier has to, with his hand and feet, not so much tap a key as to actually hit with some force a wooden stick connected to these bells. But this is what a Bayardier does, the musician who can play a Bayard or a carillon. So a collection of bells, usually in a civic building. And it can be automated, so you will hear the bells every 15 minutes. But at every possible opportunity, the city Bayardier we have these days, Frank Steens, will also run up there and do appropriate, musical illustrations. So when David Bowie passed away, he played a whole series of Bowie's most famous songs.
Yeah, I remember we were walking on the Saturday markets one time, and we heard Hotel California by the Eagles, and we were sort of listening, and we're like, wait, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it would.
And everyone gave him a big round of applause, and it was a lovely experience.
Yes, this happens too. People will stand in the market and applaud the tower, and of course I do suppose Mr. Steens can hear that up there. But he just enjoys entertaining people, and also the other thing, because the bells of course always had the function as well of warning of danger and bringing comfort in sad times. When we all went into lockdown, there was this ringing of the church bells all over the city, followed by the Maastricht anthem being played on the bells of City Hall.
Yeah. And it's and they still play. Is it every?
I think every 15 minutes, but that's automated. I mean, Frank doesn't live up there. That's
You're just surviving up there. No, that I meant for the Corona. A lot of the churches, they will ring on. Is it Wednesday evenings or? Yeah.
Yeah, they've
Because
continued doing that. Yeah.
I remember sending Lucy a message and be like, "Is there something on?" Because the bells keep ringing and it's not the right time. And but no, our local bells also ring at on Wednesday evenings, so that's for hope and
support
courage during this time.
Yeah, exactly. Because of course that is also a function these buildings have. You know, it's the Maastricht City Hall in beautiful classical fashion is designed around a great central hall in the middle of the building, and that is called a plein, meaning the square. And it's semi-public, so of course the city's administration has to function, but every possible opportunity the doors will be opened for receptions and celebrations, and it's a wedding venue, of course, also.
Ooh.
Yeah, people get married there, so there's often happy throngs of citizens on the stairs and pictures being taken.
Oh, you'd have some amazing photos, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. You do. That's, you know, and we are sort of used to that. It's City Hall is where you get married.
Yeah.
And of course it is also, and this must be extremely particular to Maastricht, every year City Hall is the site of the city government being overthrown. Because then for the 3 days of Carnival, Prince Carnival marches in and has his speaker accuse the city's administration of just not functioning adequately over the past year, and demanding the handing over of the key to the city, which is then duly given by the mayor after she has hopelessly tried to defend the city's actions in the past year. And of course it is all fun and games, right? You understand. This is all tongue-in-cheek and nonsense, and it's more like it's entertaining cabaret than anything else. And there will always be guests there from the national government, and they fight over who's going to get to go to Maastricht this year for Carnival. And I wonder why, because the entire proceedings are in the Maastricht dialect, so I really wonder how much they...
I think there's secret motives there. They just want to have a bit of a party, don't they?
Yeah, probably. And it's a wonderful photo op and all that. So So this is here you have this wonderful continuous line of use of a building and intent of a building and position of a building. You know, the market was half of the space around the building had to be cleared to give it that space around it.
Yeah.
So this 17th century image of a civic place is still in full use today, and is still just as significant today. And I even with all the changes in administrations, because, you know, we've talked about that often, the dual lords of Maastricht, and then the French Revolution and everything going upside down, and then the reconstruction period after that, and then eventually Maastricht winding up being part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. So this spring the king was gonna be visiting Maastricht, and no doubt would have been received at City Hall as well.
Yeah.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. All right. Well, is there any little tidbits or stories you wanted to add about City Hall?
Well, there's loads.
Yeah.
There's,
I can imagine.
Of course, there's loads. Just a cute one, I thought. Of course, every occupying force that descended on the city went into looting everything of value. And when the French revolutionary troops were here, they were doing that as well. And they looked at the Maastricht City Hall being, you know, a palace basically. It is a gorgeously decorated, decked out building. So. Yeah. Of course, there had to be lootable stuff there, but the Maastrichtenaren who know about this sort of thing had looked around them and had hidden all sorts of stuff everywhere. And one of the things they had done was around this large central hall, there are, of course, balustrades with a banister, and the banister consisted of separate columns in bronze donated by the rich families of the city and the region, and with their family arms, coat of arms on the little
Yeah.
columns. And when the French were approaching, the people guarding the building thought, they'll be after the metal for the cannons and the guns and everything. Let's take these coats of arms off, and we will paint the banister white and pretend it is wood. And of course there's stuff like this going on all the time, of course, with all the sieges and everything.
Yeah.
And this worked pretty well until a French soldier thought, I will take the butt of my rifle and bang one of these columns, see if it is actually wood. And of course he did find out that it was not actually wood. And so there is one banister now that is wood because the bronze one was taken out. I don't understand why not all of them were taken out. I suppose there must have been some frantic negotiating going on to prevent this, but
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, that's wonderful. Well, next time if they get invaded, they'll just have to make sure that someone scratches that one. They've got the one wooden one. It's like, oh, this one looks extra nice. I hope no one scratches this particular pole.
Yeah, it's just really daft. And another on a totally different note, but a lovely story is also about how during the Second World War, when the Jewish people were hit so very hard with first property being confiscated and all their rights taken away, and eventually so many of them being deported to die in horrendous circumstances. The city helped the synagogue hide the precious belongings. So the great chandelier of the synagogue hung in the city hall during the war, and in full view, because why not? It's less conspicuous than trying to hide it somewhere. And when the synagogue was reinstated again, of course the chandelier went back. But then at City Hall they missed the chandelier, so they they had their own put in.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful image of standing by someone and protecting things, having such a big thing hanging in the hall. Yeah,
and at the same time, of course, there were also people in this city who have actively assisted the deportations, and there were people in the city who have looted Jewish property and who have taken over their houses and refused to give them back when the few survivors came back to the city. So it is always black and white and all the shades of grey in between.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It is just like that. I wish I could go and describe all the lovely decorations in all these gloriously beautiful rooms, but it is in audio that is just not very entertaining. Have a look around, because there are very good videos now, also 3D videos of the building, and the gorgeous gold leather paneling in the mayor's room, and of the gorgeous Flemish tapestries, the gobelins in some of the other rooms, and of all the lovely plaster ceilings done in the Italian style. And one of the rooms has a 1950s ceiling decoration, because it was the plaster one was damaged too much, and so that was repainted in the 1950s by a contemporary artist, and it blends in beautifully with the older building.
Yeah. I'm excited to do my hunt through the archives this time and find some beautiful photos of the interior. I'm sure there will be lots. Yeah. So if you're watching the YouTube video, then I'm sure you'll be seeing some. Otherwise, make sure to check out the webpage on our website for this episode, and I'll try to put lots of pictures in of the interior.
You are getting to be an absolutely specialized sleuth for Maastricht pictures, so I leave that in your capable hands. But as I said at the beginning, have a walk around the building during the day, and on market days, of course, that's pretty enjoyable, because the market stairs will be right up the city hall stairs, and in normal times, of course, everything is more spread out now. Or go and sit on one of the benches on the market of an evening and look at the building, and you will see that in the stained glass windows is a sort of record of the mayors and aldermen who have served the city. So there are stained glass windows dating back quite a long time, and there are extremely contemporary ones as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So just walk around and enjoy the view, and yes, and whenever there is an opportunity to attend a public ceremony at City Hall, do. It's the people's house, after all.
So, what are we going to be talking about next week, Lucy? Since I picked City Hall.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think of something. I'm going to go way out. Is that okay?
Okay.
Do something.
Yes.
Do something completely. It's sort of a mixture of all kinds of things. We haven't been doing this at all. It is outside the city, and it has to do with the church, and it has to do with industry and with building. And I'm going to talk about the Jesuitenberg, the mountain of the Jesuits. Of course, all of you know we have no mountains here, but we still call them that. These mountains consist of very, very old seabed of the bones and shells of ancient little animals, all pressed together into a soft sandstone that half the city is built out of. And the mining of that sandstone, of course, left behind extensive webs of tunnels in the low hills, and one of them was one of these systems of caves and alleys and tunnels was used by student Jesuits.
Ooh.
I'm not going to say any more. That'll be for the
Now you have to tune in next time.
Yes, if you want to know what the Jesuits were up to, you will have to.
What were they doing in the tunnels?
What are they doing in the tunnels? Yes, well, all sorts of stuff was going on in the tunnels. Smuggling and getting people across the border in safety, and hiding for war and all of that stuff. But
well, we'll tune in for some intrigue next week. Thank you so much for joining us today, and don't forget to follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook by searching Meet Maastricht, and on Instagram at @meet_Maastricht. If you would like to learn more about us, you can also visit our website at meetmaastricht.eu, where you can buy tickets and subscribe to our monthly newsletter, so you're always up to date. Thanks again, and tune in next time to learn more about our beautiful city.
Tot ziens.